Hey guys, happy Saturday, I hope. I am just sitting in the parking lot of the gym, waiting to go in for my upper body workout, and wanted to check in quickly with a concept that I do refer to a lot in the group and in my writing, and that is this idea of values-based living. And the way that we'll frame it up today is uh, left to your own devices. If you're assessing how you're doing on the fly in any given behavior throughout your day, you'll typically be a pretty poor judge of uh, efficacy. Human nature is to view things through a lens of perfection, and when you're doing this, it's almost impossible to live up to a standard that you'll feel good about. And I've found through a lot of practice, trial and error, that in order to assess things objectively, at least as objectively as possible, there's no pure objectivity when it comes to the human mind. But in order to be as objective as possible, it's best to leave the sort of assessment or reflection that's looking at how you're doing, what's going well, and what's not going well, most importantly, for a formalized time of, call it objective reflection. And I do this in my journal every day. You can do it however you want, but I think it's important to have a dedicated time, once per day or however many times per week that you feel comfortable with, where you kind of remove yourself from your own body and your own actions and look at it as an explorer or a researcher, where you're looking at your behaviors and figuring out what's going well and what's not, and in relation to what's not, removing yourself from the self-doubt and self-criticism, and saying, hey, I'm going to unpack this and figure out what's the underlying variables at play here, and what is in my control and what's not in my control, and what can I do differently next time? What can I take from this particular struggle and invest into my future self tomorrow, next week, whenever, and do things a little differently to test out the next phase of whatever I'm setting out to do. And that's literally how I grow. That's literally how I learn. That's how I approach myself, with curiosity. That's how I look at my journey and my process, with an eye of welcoming growth. And that's what self-curiosity is all about to me. So how does all this tie into values-based living? Outside of that formalized, fixed, scheduled time of self-reflection and assessment, I tend to filter my behaviors based on my values and my sense of purpose. And when I can sync my actions with my values and purpose, invariably I feel my best. So, for example, here I am at the gym sitting in the parking lot. There have been plenty of days where I have to skip this formal workout. And when I do, if I was to run this through a filter based on what's going well and what's not, I would almost always feel a nagging sense of anxiety and letdown, like I'm letting myself down, like I'm failing just a little bit. And that's not a stable, optimal foundation to be working off of. So instead, if I were to miss this workout, I would think about it in the sense of my values and purpose. And what do I care about most? Well, one of the things that I care about most in life is being active, because of what it means for my health, for my family, for my sense of adventure, and just for my general sense of well-being, physically and mentally. When I'm active, I feel my best on all levels of my being. So when I think about it from that vantage point, a missed structured workout in the gym is not cause for concern, because I will find movement elsewhere. Maybe I had to skip because my wife is busy today and I have all the kids. Well, great. That's a fantastic opportunity to share my value of movement with my children. So we'll go outside for a bike ride or a walk in the park or something like that, and I will not feel one bit of failure because I've related my actions to my values. So you tend to be a little bit kinder to yourself when you do this sort of filtration with values and purpose rather than this supposed objective self-reflection in the heat of the moment. So I think that's where I'll stop today. I think that's enough to trigger some comments and discussion, and I hope that you will, because I think it's an important topic to explore. And like anything else, this sort of perspective is a skill that needs work and practice. And the more that you practice, the better at it you'll get. So let's talk about it, and hopefully you guys have awesome weekends, and we will see you in the comments.